Um, what am I talking about here today? What are the horror stories this week? Um, I'm not sure there's that many horror stories actually, which is interesting. Don't know why it's been slightly quieter than usual. Did have a conversation with a small business owner who was convinced that their way of doing a redundancy process was much better than the ACAS way of doing it, and much fairer and much kinder to the employees they were about to fire. It's like, okay, but one, you are still firing them, and the whole ACAS process is set up to protect you, the employer. I know you think it's a faff, but actually, if you follow that process, the employee has no claim against you for following a weird process. You have done a fair and reasonable process if you follow the ACAS process, and they can't raise a claim on you against that. So it's to your benefit to follow that process. Um, but that also meant that the business owner had to put two other people who were staying, but whose roles were changing, because it's like, well, if everybody's roles are changing, then everybody's at risk, and you have given that all the staff bar one are over 2 years, you have to offer all the remaining positions to the people who are there. Okay, so that they have the chance to say no. I'll go. I'll take the tax-free money, or yeah, I would like to be considered. Then you have a fair process, and business owners didn't want to do that because it was just too much time. And since then we've been exchanging emails, which is always a delight. That's why ChatGPT is great, because I can write my slightly direct emails, and then ChatGPT can go, okay, so I'll just put it into a slightly more professional tone and take out all the swear words. So yes. So are there any questions today? Everybody happy? There's people with videos off that I'm going to say they obviously don't want to talk to me. Fine, just fine. Um, just thinking what else has happened. There's the SSP. Oh yes, we have one question from a golf club. That was because they had, through custom and practice, always paid the first 3 waiting days before SSP kicked in at full pay. Because SSP is now changed, does that mean they should change? They should change, or they have to change? I'm not quite sure what they were asking about the grounds for changing. Because there's no more waiting days. So therefore they can just not pay their 3 days at full pay. And it's like, well, actually, no, the point being, through custom and practice, you are now paying the first 3 days of absence at full pay. SSP will be part of that full pay, but you're paying it out full pay because you've been doing this through custom and practice. So, and they're like, but we just want to stop doing it. Well, we have been talking about this for a while, and we have been advising you that there's going to be a problem, and surprise, surprise, there is a problem. Okay, so there you go. I'm doing a GCMA talk next week. I'm doing a new quiz. Not that it makes any difference, because I do ask the quiz questions over and over again, and nobody gets 10 out of 10. I'd just like to say, maybe we should go through the quiz on here next week. That we do the Employment Rights Act quiz 2026 as of April, and then we'll do it when the new things come in October. We'll do a new quiz out, and then we'll see how many people get 10 out of 10. So it's trying to make it easy for people to understand. It's very not horror story this week. There are changes there aren't any extra changes. The changes came in April. There was an interesting one this morning in a kitchen. The club rang up and said they wanted to get rid of a chef, female, in her 60s, and under 2 years service. So I'm like, okay, but we haven't got any performance management, have we? And they're like, no. No, what a surprise. That's why I asked. And it's like, why are we doing this now, particularly when we're coming into the busy time? If they weren't performing, and the head chef is now saying they haven't performed, the whole 2 years, it's like, well, why are we doing this now and not back in November, when we could have had quiet time to recruit? And that's when the F&B manager said, well, you see, I think it's probably because of something she said. Okay, so what did she say? Oh, I don't really want to tell you. I'm like, well, no, you need to tell me. Otherwise, the advice I'm giving you is not possibly correct. And she said, well, I only heard it as whispers. And it's like, okay, but I still need to know what it is the whispers are saying. And it's like, well, the what's it? Staff in the kitchen are having inappropriate relationships. I'm like, staff being the head chef and his staff. And she's like, well, yes, but I don't know quite which staff. I think she does know which staff. She just didn't want to tell me because she already knew she was in trouble. And I said, well, I'm going to need to know more details about that. What allegations, well, it's not even allegations, but what gossip is going around? Because it sounds like that the sous chef has then said something, however, maybe a joke, maybe I don't think you should be doing that, whatever it is, to the head chef. And the head chef has then decided this person needs to go. Now, to me, as an outsider, because we deal with these things all the time, that sounds like the head chef is doing something inappropriate. Because you don't just fire somebody if you are absolutely blameless. You don't do that. You just say, well, that's rubbish. No, I'm not doing that. But if somebody said something and therefore your reaction is you're going to fire them, we're getting to no smoke without a fire, which would be true in the kitchen. There will be no smoke without a fire. So that's okay. But the other thing is that the sous chef could potentially claim that she has raised sexual harassment issues, not against herself, but against other people, that she has made the club aware of sexual harassment issues. And that would mean that she's covered by whistleblowing legislation, which means that if she did start a claim for being dismissed, she could claim to have her salary paid for, well, the next 2 years until it comes to court and a decision is made. So say she's on 30,000 a year, the club would have to pay £60,000 to her. She does not work. She has that as extra pocket money. And even if she lost her claim, the club never gets that £60,000 back. And this is if you raise a claim on the basis of sexual harassment took place, it is taking place, or it could take place. You are protected by whistleblowing legislation. So that means in this case, obviously, I still haven't heard the whispers. I'm very interested to hear the whispers now. It could well be that she could claim whistleblowing. If she went to a solicitor, they would say, well, it's age discrimination anyway, but also, yeah, you can claim whistleblowing, and they would be in trouble. And it's like, at the moment, I'm tending more that we might need to get rid of the head chef. I mean, I'm not saying the sous chef is doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, but if the only reason that this has come to a head is because of a comment that was made, instead of disciplining the person, they're going to fire them, that feels like a not good situation. So I'm interested to see what comes back on that, because that was a conversation this morning, and they're going away to investigate that. So that's good. And the other thing is pensions. Please make sure, I don't think, again, the people on this call, I don't think there's any teaching you. You know what you're supposed to be doing. But I've had a club now come to us who want to terminate somebody, and they haven't paid this person's pension for 3.5 years. And they're saying, well, yeah, so it was supposed to be into standard life, but, you know, and I'm like, you know what the conversation, why have you not paid it into standard life? Well, we think he opted out. Well, no. Did he opt out? Have you got that in writing? If you got it in writing, absolutely fine. Great. But it feels at this stage that they haven't got it in writing, that nothing was done properly, and that this gentleman, who is on his way out anyway, is now owed 3.5 years of pension contributions as well as any tax fee amounts. And it's a very easy thing to check and it's often it's not when it's a general manager, but if somebody else was in charge, to check that the pension contributions are being made, and if they're not, that we resolve it now immediately and not hope that it never comes up, because it will come up, and the club is legally liable to pay all the pension contributions. The employer must pay them. You have to pay it for the full time. You can't say, oh, well, you know, after 5 years, we don't have to go back further than 5 years. You have to pay the contributions for as long as that person has been with you. So there's no advantage to letting it drag on, because it just gets more and more and more that you will have to pay in one sum. That's the thing. It's much better to spread it over month by month. So it's just checking again that you are paying pension contributions, and if anybody is opted out, you've got that in writing. It does mean they get automatically opted in again every 3 years, because I've opted out. I have my own pension, and it's every 3 years they say, and we'll put you back in again, and then you have to wait to go in, and then you have to write an email saying, no, I want to opt out, and it is a faff, absolutely, but you're doing the faff for the employee. And you have to make sure you've got all that paperwork, because it gets, not only will you have to pay the pension contributions, but you will have to pay fines as well, because the pensions regulator is really not happy if you don't pay pension contributions. So yeah. So I think it might be, unless anybody's got a question, it's a really quick one today. And yeah, I've almost finished all my cream eggs now. I did go a little bit mad yesterday on my day off with my mini eggs, and had a little bit of a sugar high when going slightly dizzy around the house. But it's fine. I've calmed down again now, so that's good. So if everybody's okay, then Melanie, yeah, Melanie Pointer. Hello, I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks.
No, I know, I've been busy and ill.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. So my quick question relates to a question that I asked before, so it's sort of part B really, and that was downturn in work, somebody had reduced hours, then they went on holiday, and then they couldn't go on holiday because of the conflict, so it was whether we continued to have that holiday. So I did, because we didn't have the work. So I said, right, I'll try and give you what work I can in the interim, but obviously you're on holiday. And that holiday ends the end of this week. This person has now given notice, or gave notice anyway, and finishes at the end of this month. So the question is that when they technically end their holiday at the end of this week, I don't have a lot of hours to give them. I mean, I can give them what I can give them. So I've got a conversation later today to say what's going to happen. Am I in my rights? Because obviously I'd reduced the hours already. They know the work's dropped off. So am I able to say, well, look, you'll be finishing your holiday, but I can only give you the hours that I have between now and when you finish, which is a 2-week period. Is that okay?
A couple more questions. So what hours, because you said about reducing hours, so it's not
right. So basically they were contracted for, I think 30 hours a week or something like that. I think it was 30. And then it was 35. And then we reduced it to 28. Then we reduced it again. That was before the holiday. And then obviously he went for a month. He booked a month's holiday. Then when he told me he wasn't going, he said, can I work? And I said, well, I've made arrangements now, but I'll try and give you what I can. So I have. But it's looking like he's doing probably only 2 days a week now with the amount of work. So it's whether I can do that for the last 2 weeks.
So whatever was agreed last in writing is what he will be on for the last 2 weeks.
Right. So can I agree in writing today that it's even less?
You can try. If I was an employer, I would say no, because there's no advantage to him to do that. And you are legally required to pay whatever his last previous written agreement was.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, because we agreed less hours and we did a written thing, what I'm doing now is now I'm updating that with another written thing potentially.
Yes, and nobody's already given notice, so there's no advantage for him to do that, because you are legally obliged to pay him what you previously agreed in writing. Right. Not the first thing of whatever, 30 hours or whatever, but what was the last amount that was agreed in writing with him for hours?
I think it was 28, but I will look that up. So therefore, I have to pay him the 28, or say to him, if he does agree, let's say I say to him, well, it will be less. If he agrees to that, that's fine, is it? It's whether he agrees or not.
Yes, although he could, yes. I mean, he could come back with the claim saying you put him under duress to agree to it, because actually he had something in writing for 28 hours a week, and therefore you owe him that extra. But he might not. I don't know. It's a slightly unusual situation. Yeah.
I mean, I think the holiday he's taken will be in excess of what he's owed anyway. So there'll be some.
Yeah, so you could, okay. Leave. So, well, yeah. So if you do 28 hours a week, so the 2 weeks, 28 hours is X amount, say £500, less whatever he was overpaid for holiday, because obviously he's leaving partway through so holiday was paid, yes, not unpaid.
Yes, but I don't think he's accrued it all, so I don't think it's all
No.
going to be paid. But that will be next pay run, so it hasn't been paid yet technically.
Right. So, okay, so we probably need to do this separately. But you would,
Right.
if he hasn't accrued it, you're absolutely right. It would be unpaid. Yeah, and we would need to look at how we take that off of those 28 hours. So then you might end up only paying the 20 hours because of the fact that he had time off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
yeah,
no, that's
that might be an easier way of doing it. That is, it's so it doesn't flash any alarm bells with them.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Melanie Drake, are you okay? Is everything all right? Good. Fine. Right. Okay. Well, Nadia's off to Mauritius. And my window thing keeps coming up with views of beaches, and I'm like, oh God. Honestly, I'm going to say it's, first world envy, because in 2 weeks I'm on holiday as well in Istanbul. So it's not like I have to wait very long, but it's just right now, I would like to be in Mauritius. Without the flying there, I just want to teleport there. That would be really nice. Anyway, have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you all next week for the quiz. We will definitely do the quiz next week. Okay. Right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want a free peace of mind call with us to discuss your policies, handbook, and any burning staff issues in your business, click the link in the description below.